Well, Tim, it's been an exciting week for you, it sounds like. What all has been going on since we last talked?
Well, last week I made a trip for work and went to Los Angeles, California for the very first time.
Okay, so I assume you had a good time?
Oh, yeah, had a great time. Learned a lot about, it was I've been to California now this is my 5th trip.
Right.
This was the first one I think I met the real Californians.
Yeah, you met the real Californians. Yeah. Okay. Now, while you were out there, though, Tim, I believe that I was able to set you up a meeting with a very important company that we've been talking about.
Yes, I went and saw and played the Player1Up cabinets.
Or the Arcade1Up.
Yeah, Arcade1Up cabinets in person at the P1 Studios, which is not the manufacturer, but their advertising place. And we'll go into detail about that in a little bit.
Actually, we're going to go into detail about that right now, Tim, because I said we would start off at the beginning of the show. No waiting, Tim. We're not here to bury the lead. We're going to start with the lead. Now, Tim, P1 Studios, like you mentioned, is the advertising agency for the Arcade1Up cabinets, and we want to thank the folks from P1 for reaching out to us, Tim, and allowing you to make a visit while you were in Los Angeles.
Yeah, they were very friendly. It was a little hard to find, not being from the area and stuff. I mean, GPS and stuff. And but once I found it, they were very welcoming. Dale was there to greet me, and they kind of rolled out the red carpet, gave me a grand tour. It was a lot of fun. Enjoyed the time that I got to spend. It's definitely in downtown Los Angeles.
Okay, now
pretty
Tim,
close.
We've seen a lot of the pictures and everything, but first let's start off with which models did you get to play? So which actual cabinets did you get to play?
I played the Centipede cabinet.
Okay.
I played the Asteroids cabinet.
Okay.
I played the Street Fighter cabinet, the Rampage cabinet, and I think that was it.
The Final Fight cabinet?
I saw the Final Fight and turned it on. I didn't really play it.
Okay.
But it was there.
Okay, so basically you got to play pretty much the entire, release lineup.
Yeah, they were like, play whichever one you want. If you guys have seen the promo videos, the lineup that they had there, that was what I was there, because that's where they shot the video.
So basically the five cabinets across that you saw, those are the 5 cabinets you got to play.
Right.
Okay.
And I saw a couple in the works, but I can't tell you what they are.
And maybe we'll share a little bit with that. Now, Tim, I'm going to go ahead and throw the pictures up, because you actually took some pictures while you were there. So let's go ahead and throw up this one. Now, Tim, it looks like you spent a lot of time specifically with the Centipede cabinet. Is that correct?
Yes, I'll say right off the bat that it was by far my favorite.
Okay, so let's go ahead and show some pictures of that, guys. So this is Tim standing next to the Centipede cabinet and playing it. Now, Tim, you'll notice here in the pictures that this is with the optional 1-foot riser, correct?
Right. This had the riser on it, which definitely, if you're going to stand up and play, makes a lot of difference.
Right. So, I mean, you got to play it at that level. How was it with the riser? Was it a big deal that it was, that it was maybe a little bit shorter than a regular cabinet? Did that bother you at all? Were you okay with it? Or how did it play? I mean,
it kind of felt like a cabaret.
Okay.
And which we've had before. I mean, at first it looks like a Moppet when you see the little one,
Right.
And but being around kiddie games and stuff, that was not that unusual. Or actually, I'll just say this right off the bat, guys. I really liked them more when I saw them in person.
Okay, so you felt like
and for a while there, we were waiting on him to get there. We were pretty anxious to play them. So it took 5 minutes. I'm just sitting there looking them over, looking at all the aspects of them, and they're a lot smaller than an arcade game, but they played really good, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure.
Well, let's go ahead and talk. Now, Tim, you got to play all of them. So you say your favorite was the Centipede. Why was it your favorite? Why was that the one that you felt like was the favorite out of the ones you got to play?
I would just say, as a collector, and guys know us, that this is not our first rodeo. We've been around games, been working on games. We've been together over 10 years.
Right.
I own a Centipede. And it was the one to me that kind of had the best feel. The trackball felt good. The play was fine. The sound was good. It even had a little hesitation. You can tell it had been programmed to. It wasn't super smooth. You ever played a Centipede that was really good?
Yes.
And it doesn't feel right?
Right.
This felt just like I really, outside of, if you would have taken me and blindfolded me and put me up there, I would have thought I was playing like a Centipede cabaret.
Wow.
It was.
So the controls, so you were impressed with the controls.
I really liked the controls on that one. The artwork was good. The Centipede was my favorite as far as feel of a game. Now, I really liked the way a couple of them looked. I liked the artwork and stuff. But the Centipede caught my attention the most, and I believe that's one that I shot and kind of drew myself to just naturally.
Okay, so go ahead and give us the rundown of the rest of the cabinet. So let's go over the Asteroids next. What did you think about the Asteroids cabinet? Now, the Asteroids plays more than just Asteroids. It plays Tempest and some others.
Major Havoc.
Major Havoc's on there. So
which is kind of different if you've never, a lot. Where are you going to get one?
Exactly. So what did you think about the Asteroids cabinet?
Okay, Centipede was probably my favorite. The Asteroids cabinet was probably my least favorite.
Really?
And
you're a big Asteroids fan.
And I'm a big Asteroids fan. And it's not because it wasn't Vector, it had, Asteroids actually played pretty good. I caught myself playing it a couple times. The one game I didn't like on that cabinet was Tempest.
Okay, so what was wrong with Tempest in particular?
I didn't like the control. It did,
there was a spinner. There is a spinner.
There is a spinner on it, but the original Tempest, you can whirl that thing and it makes that noise, that whirl sound, and it'll go spin around really fast. This did not have quite the feel. Now, did I have fun? I played it, yes, but I didn't like the Tempest spinner. To me, that would need a little tweaking for my liking.
Now, okay, but what about Asteroids? How was Asteroids on that cabinet?
Asteroids was pretty good, except for, it's not a Vector monitor, but, I mean, it's okay. And I was playing Asteroids just like I was, kind of reliving some childhood memories there. And from the time we've had an Asteroids before, I liked it. And like I said, just because I said it was my least favorite, I'm not saying I dislike it. I'm just saying that out of all of them, I'm a Tempest fan. I like Tempest, and the Centipede the trackball felt like an arcade style trackball, so I really liked the Centipede the way it felt. I didn't like the way the spinner felt on the Asteroids.
Okay, so
I thought the artwork was real cool on it.
So what was the other one? Let's talk about the Rampage. What did you think about the 3-player Rampage?
I was worried that it would be really tight to play 3 people.
Right.
And I think 3 grown men, if you were sitting there, honestly, would be a little bit tight, but it's playable. It's doable. Especially if it was on a riser. It wouldn't be as bad. The real control panel is actually pretty big. Remember that? So I'm kind of surprised they chose the Rampage. But once you get to playing it, your mind goes.
You're in the game.
You're in the game. You forget about that kind of stuff. The stuff that looked like would be a problem when I'm sitting there, when I go into playing it, really didn't matter as much.
Gotcha.
I mean, I haven't played Rampage since I owned one years ago.
It's been a long time.
And been a long time since I even played it. I was playing Rampage and having fun.
Awesome. Okay, so what about Street Fighter? I know a lot of people here are probably wondering about Street Fighter. So what about the Street Fighter?
Here's what caught my attention immediately with the Street Fighter was the graphics just pop with that LCD monitor in it. You can see in the picture. You want to go ahead and bring up that picture, John?
Yeah, and I'm going to show this one here. These are some more pictures, guys, that we have. And you'll see the Asteroids here. And, Tim, I think the difference is that with Street Fighter being a newer style game, that animation is a lot better than, of course, what we have in, like, Asteroids or Centipede or things like that. But you can see here that we have the Asteroids. Tim, you also took a picture of the spinner on the Asteroids.
Yeah.
So you can kind of get an idea of that. But you have the Street Fighter here, and we actually have a video of that, Tim, which we'll be playing here in a second.
Okay.
Actually, your friend David, I believe, playing
it.
And so I'll be showing that. But even in that picture, Tim, you can tell that screen just really pops. It's real sharp.
That's one thing you'll notice about the Street Fighter right off the bat is it's very vivid, very bright, and David was having a great time playing that. In fact, he's about your age, Johnny, a little 10 years old.
Now, he's also a game tech like you.
He's a game tech. He's not a collector. And I really valued his opinion because, I drug him all the way over there with me, and I was wondering, it was a 45-minute drive and all that stuff, and afterwards he had a blast. I think he wants to order one. So it was like...
So you made a sale.
He really, really enjoyed, and he kept playing that Street Fighter over and over and over. He did say, within 10 seconds, he looked at me and he goes, I don't like this joystick.
Right.
That's the first thing he said. And you'll notice that it doesn't quite have the arcade quality feel. But my opinion
is... Still very playable.
It's very playable. After a while, he was playing. I said, what do you think about the joystick now? He's like, I would put my own joystick in there. That's what he said.
Right.
And he doesn't collect any games. But then he said, but at least I could play it with that one. And he was having fun with it. And he was pretty good, too. So I didn't challenge him or nothing. But I did like the vivid colors of it. It really stood out.
So we're going to be playing the videos here in a second, guys. But you also got to see the final fight, which technically has been delayed till the spring of next year, I believe.
Yes.
So, I mean, what did you think of the artwork package? Did you get to see the game actually running at all, or?
Yes, we turned it. I'm trying to remember, John. It seems like we turned it on, and it's same way, bright graphics and stuff. I didn't play that one very long. If I did,
okay.
They didn't rush us or anything, but it was already getting kind of dark, towards dark, and mentioned we were in downtown Los Angeles, so
you were wanting to get out, right?
Us Texans weren't real comfortable at that moment. But the artwork and stuff was really cool. There's a good picture of it there.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and show that back up here. So the one on the end, of course, is the Final Fight cabinet, though. But Tim, I tell you what, the artwork packages on these things look really sharp.
That's one thing that they said they wanted to do, is to make sure. Now the cabinet itself is half an inch thick. It's not 3/4 inch like most games,
right?
But it's not quarter inch,
right?
So it's kind of that middle of the road. You know, it's in the middle. And we got an interesting video I want everybody to see. I was impressed on how I actually picked one up. So
well, let's go ahead and show that video. I'm going to show them in the order that you filmed them here, Tim. So this is Tim's first video on the weight of an Arcade1Up cabinet.
Hey, this is Tim with Arcade Repair Tips video series, and we're at the P1 Studios. We are looking at the Arcade1Up arcade cabinets, and we're having a good time learning about these things. One thing I want to show you guys is how great they look. They look really good in person, but one of the things that I want to show you is how light they are. I am actually going to pick it up, and I'm just going to pull this one off. So anyway, I want you guys to see it's not very heavy. All of you who watched me before know my back issues in the past, so I'm glad to see that they're not that heavy.
Okay, Tim, so obviously these things are pretty light if you were able to pick one up.
I just picked it right up. They're really light, and was kind of surprised how light it was. But that's not actually really a bad thing.
Because of the size, too. I mean, they're just smaller than an arcade cabinet, so they're lighter as well.
Yeah, I didn't get to see inside of them, but Dale talked to me a lot about how they're made. All the wiring is soldered on.
Okay.
And so, you know, it just seemed like it's pretty tight, like there wouldn't be that big a deal to put one together.
Sure. And
it seems like most of it comes pre-done. One thing I want to point out, you might notice in the video on the side, I don't know, maybe pull up this Street Fighter.
Yes.
And if you guys will look up in the corner, up near the marquee on the right side, they all have a hole where the screw is sunk in.
Okay.
And that's one thing I mentioned to him was, you know, there's a lot of stuff that cover those type of holes.
Sure.
But that's how they roll out.
Now, it looked like on the Centipede, Tim, and I'm going to go back here, that artwork actually covered that area. Is that correct? Here,
yeah,
let me bring that up real quick. Yeah, it looks like on this one, the artwork actually covers that area.
Yeah, but see, it really stood, and if it doesn't stand out as much as it does on that black cabinet.
Sure.
It's countersunk in, and I mean, it's not a huge deal, but I'm just saying, I know some of these guys, I would fill that in.
And here's the thing, you're assembling it. So if that's something that you want to do, you can obviously do it, right?
Sure.
So if you want to touch that up a little bit. Now, Tim, we have a couple more videos here, of course, that we want to play. And so I'm going to play the next one here. Tim, I call this the gameplay video.
Okay.
So this is your friend David playing the Street Fighter, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's go ahead and play that one.
Want to show you some of the action gameplay here. As you can see, the graphics. The screen looks really good. This LCD screen that they have in there is plenty big. My buddy David is sitting in a chair here and he is playing. Also, the buttons and the joystick are not quite tap controls, but they are very good. They're not too cheap. They will do, and then you can replace them with something more heavy duty if you need to later.
Now, Tim, I think that video does a really good job of showing how much that screen pops.
Yeah, it really does.
I mean, it really does. I mean, it is very bright. I was so surprised when I saw that video as to how good that LCD looked.
Yeah, it does. It's a quality LCD in there, and because you know when you think about a previous cabinets, I mean, you know, we had the one that was sold at Sam's, had a little 13-inch CRT in it. Remember that?
The Big Idea Electronics or something like that, I forget.
And this really looks good as far as that goes, and really very bright. All the games, even the Asteroids, looked really good on it.
Okay. Now, we have one more video here, Tim, and this is kind of like what I call the overview video.
Okay.
Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and play that, and then we're going to talk about some of the things you like, some of the things you dislike, or not, and, you know, we'll just go through that, and so let's go ahead and watch this one real quick, and then we'll come back.
Okay, we are back at the P1 Studios looking at the Centipede game made by Arcade1Up. As you can see, this one has the riser, and it's quite a bit taller. You know, the height was a lot of our concern, and this is much more. I'm standing straight up, I'm not bending over, and I am playing this game. Here's another cool feature. Let's say phone rings or I got to answer. I can turn the volume off. You guys can't hear that. It goes into silent mode, and then I can easily just flip the switch right here and turn the volume back on. So volume on, volume off. That's kind of a cool feature that is right here, easy to do. Also, just turn the whole game off. When I'm done, it boots up pretty fast. I'll show you guys how fast it boots up. So there, I've turned it on, and it will come on really quick. There's a cool menu screen that says Arcade1Up, and it doesn't take, you know, like a 60-in-1 takes forever to count up. We're already up and going here. So thank you guys for watching.
Okay, Tim, well, one of the things I noticed in that video, of course, is it booted up very fast compared to like a 60-in-1 or something like that.
Right, really fast. And also, I think I demonstrated the sound on and off.
Yes.
I don't know why. I just thought that was different.
Well, you know, if
it's
you got
a big deal,
phone call or something in the game,
just turn it off.
Absolutely.
Or you know, your kids on the toilet like a Steve Wiebe or something. You go, hey, hold on a second. You know, turn it back on. Anyway,
well, let's go over some of the things that you liked about them as a whole. So, what were the things that stood out to you? What were the things that you really liked about these Arcade1Up cameras?
Okay, I'm going to be honest. You know, just coming from a collector that had normally would never be interested in purchasing anything like this, because why not? I can build a Centipede, or I can build a 60-in-1 or full-size one. I actually liked them more in person than I thought I would.
Nice.
So
what made you like them more?
The artwork is really stands out, and they look cool. When you see one, you're like, that's a cool looking little machine, and I wanted to play it immediately.
So
I couldn't wait. It drew me in. I wanted to play. Then once I played it, it was good enough. I mean, it was somebody asked, I think, were the original ROMs. He talked to me some about the programming and how they slowed down Centipede and they did some stuff. I don't know. I assume they are because they had to buy the rights to them.
Sure.
Now,
what do you think about the overall cabinet quality?
The overall cabinet, you know, I would have rather it been a little bit thicker,
right,
for my opinion. But when I picked it up, I was like, that's not that bad. It would really be cool to have this in an office somewhere or something. And then you got some friends coming over, and you pull them all out real quick, or put them back to back or something, then put them up against the wall, put it in a closet. I mean, you know, the more I thought about it, I was like, when I picked it up, I was like, well, that's kind of cool, because, you know, we have to get a dolly or a friend to help us, or at my age, you know, it's like have to hire somebody to move a game. But so that was pretty neat to just be able to pick it up. Overall, you know, would I build it different? Yes. Would I charge more than $299? Heck yes.
There you go. So for the
price, I'm being honest, guys. For the price, I mean, what do you expect? This thing is pretty nice for the price.
Gotcha.
I mean,
as far as
for the price
goes,
of a smart watch,
right,
or something here, you can have this game. I'm just saying, for the price, it's not a bad deal.
Okay.
It's actually a good deal, in my opinion.
So, I mean, besides the Tempest spinner, was there anything else that really stood out to you as far as things that you didn't like about them?
Yeah, the marquee doesn't light up.
Right.
It doesn't
would be nice.
It doesn't have T-molding.
But again, you're hitting a price point.
Exactly. For that price, yeah, it's pretty good. Now, one thing I did talk to them about is, you know, and another thing I thought, well, these cabinets are kind of cool. I would like if I get one, I would probably mod it and do some stuff to it.
Sure.
You have a really fun cabinet. But then I talked to them about maybe doing a generic type cab and just selling it and letting people do whatever they want to with it. And also maybe making a more of a collector quality cabinet.
With the light marquee.
With the lighted marquee, like better joysticks, better buttons, T-molding, stuff like that. And they weren't opposed to it. They didn't say no. But they did give me a secret about the size that I think everybody needs to hear.
Yeah, and guys, this is something really important. I'm just going to draw attention to it because when you told me, it made perfect sense. So, Tim, tell the audience what you found out.
Right. Everybody's really concerned about the size. You have to understand the license for this came from a parent company who already were selling games and stuff at Walmart. They were selling little keychains and stuff.
Like the little keychain games, like the little tiny arcades?
Yeah, tiny arcades and different things like that. Kind of like the ones at Toys R Us before they went out of business.
Sure.
Like the Hallmark ornaments and stuff like that. Well, they are limited to their license, and what they could mass produce could only be up to a certain size. I think it was like 3 feet. That's why they're that size. If they go bigger, they become a full-blown arcade cabinet, and then you have to pay for a different type of licensing.
And there's no way you could get the price lower if you went bigger, in other words, because that license is going to cost you a lot more to go with like a big arcade license, for instance.
Exactly. So, guys, cut them a little slack. I mean, it's not a keychain. Right. It's a lot bigger than that. David at first was thinking you would put it up on a bar. He thought it was a bar top or a tabletop. No. It's not. You put it up there, it's going to be too tall.
Right.
It'll be too big. It's really with the pedestal, which I don't know that I would pay, what is it, $60 for one?
50 or 60.
I'd build one.
Sure.
Or put it on something, you know. It's really, when you start playing it, like I was playing Centipede, it's not that bad.
Right.
Now, am I saying it's as good as original Centipede? Heck no. To me.
Right. But $300.
But for $300, guys, I mean, that's a really decent cabinet for that price. I wouldn't sell them.
So would you say that your opinion overall changed from when we started talking about them to when you saw them?
Yeah, because if you remember, we had the debate.
Right.
And although...
Now, the price was different. We thought they were going to be $400 at the time.
Well, when we debate, we're just having fun. We're not always... We'll pick a side whether we believe in it or not.
Right.
But I did argue that, you know, what was the point? I actually, when I saw them, and I saw my friend David, who doesn't own arcade games, start playing at Street Fighter, having a good time, and I thought, this would be so cool if you had like 4 or 5 of these in a little party, or kids and stuff. I mean, for a home collector, it has a place.
Absolutely.
And so my opinion definitely was more positive. And just talking to the guys, I mean, they're not trying to change the world or upset our arcade, 100,000 worldwide community or something,
Right.
They're just trying to
build a product,
keep the games up there. I think it actually does good for us, because when people see that and they say, well, maybe I would like a bigger version one day or something.
Exactly.
But for the average person, they can throw this thing in the back of their car, take it over to their friend's house, or go to a Super Bowl party or something, and just, I don't know. I don't think that all the negative things, even that I felt about them in the beginning, are all deserving. Now, would I have done it a little different? Probably so, and some of you probably would have too. I think some things are making, so I talked to them about an upgrade, that maybe they would do a collector upgrade, and they seemed kind of open to that idea. But you got to understand, we're talking about mass production. They're wanting to make money,
right? And
they're wanting to get these things and all the GameStops and they just don't take up that much space either. And overall, I give them a good thumbs up. They're fun to play, guys. I don't know what matters. That's what matters. I mean, you play the game, you have fun. For that cost, it's really not a bad deal. And I'll take any questions or anything. Did my opinion change? Yes, somewhat. Couple things that we might mention. There were.
I forgot one thing here. You got to see a secret game.
Yes.
So I'm just going to throw it up here. Okay. So what's under the cover, Tim?
I can tell you, but I'd have to kill you, right? So I cannot say except for it again. keeps in line with the classic arcade.
Right.
I believe that if you go to Arcade1Up Europe, you might have a better hit. I think that they're already producing some of these. And he told me about another one. They were too excited. They're going to be more coming out.
Sure.
And so I thought it's really kind of cool, guys. I think for the price point, you can own
Somebody says it's Pac-Man.
Good guess? I would say that would be a good guess. That's not what's under there.
There you go. So anyway, well, Tim, you'll leave us in suspense, I guess, on that. But we do want to remind you guys that if you want more information about Arcade1Up, you can go to arcade1up.com. Check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/arcade1upofficial, and also check them up on Twitter at Arcade_1Up. Tim, it sounds like you had a great time, and again, we want to thank P1 Studios for allowing you to come in and actually take a look at the cabinets. They were very accommodating to Tim and David, his friend, and so we want to thank them so much for allowing us to come in and take a look at them, and Tim, for you to get to play them.
Yeah, here's my goal. I think I would like to get one. I may wait on the one that's coming out.
Okay.
I'll tell you that much.
Okay. Oh, like the one undercover? Or?
No, the one that's in the works.
Okay, because there's Best Buy has a model that you didn't get to see.
Right.
The combo model.
They have the...
it has Asteroids and Centipede kind of put together.
Yeah.
Guys, the only thing about that is that it's a horizontal display.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're playing Centipede on that, it's going to be smaller than the Centipede.
Ah.
Okay, so if your primary goal is to play Centipede, I would say get the Centipede cabinet. But if your primary goal is to play the horizontal games, like Asteroids, then that cabinet may be better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you get more options with it. It's $400. It comes with the riser already, and it has a 12-in-1. It's a 12-in-1 system.
Okay, 12-in-1, yeah.
So, I mean, that may be an option for you. Again, though, playing vertical games on that, you're going to have a smaller screen, Tim, because of orientation.
It wasn't there, or I would have definitely played it.
Okay, so if anybody has any questions about the 1UP arcade cabinets, please send them in the chat. We're going to, we'll give them to Tim here if there's anything specific that has to do with the ones that he saw.
I think our biggest argument is when what all arcade people in general are going to say is too small.
Right.
But, again, I understand their restraints, and it really, when you get to sit down and you play it, it's not as bad as you think. I'm just going to be honest. It's really not horrible, and for that price, guys, it's a decent deal for what you get.